What does it feel like to live for centuries as a ghost in your own homeland? Imagine being born in a land your ancestors built, only to be told, you're a slave now. No war, no negotiation, no trial, just chains. Here's a number to make your spine tingle. For nearly 300 years, the Messenians lived under Spartan rule as helots, a kind of state-owned slave. That's longer than the United States has existed. Entire generations lived and died without ever tasting freedom. And yet, they rose. Not once, not twice, but again and again. Today, we're diving into one of the most untold, most defiant sagas of the ancient world, the story of Messene, the land that refused to kneel. Messene, or Messenia, is a lush, fertile region in the southwestern Peloponnese. If Sparta was a barracks, Messene was Eden, rich in grain, olives, and dreams. But of course, Sparta had spears and a bad habit of eyeing other people's lunch. In the 8th century BCE, the Spartans invaded. It was called the First Messenian War. But calling it a war is generous. It was more like a hostile takeover, followed by centuries of oppression. The Spartans didn't just win. They turned the entire population into helots, a labor force with no rights, no freedom, and no hope. Let's be clear, the Messenians didn't go quietly. There was Aristomenes, the first name you need to tattoo on your brain. He led the Second Messenian War sometime in the 7th century BCE, and if Greek legends are a bit foggy, it's because Sparta didn't like to talk about their embarrassments. Aristomenes was a kind of ancient Greek Robin Hood crossed with John Wick. He fought a guerrilla war, disappeared into the mountains, and according to legend, leapt from the top of a cliff after capture and survived. The Spartans were baffled. Some said the gods protected him. Others whispered his soul burned too hot to kill. Fun fact, he once slaughtered 300 Spartans during a night raid, and then offered their shields to the gods. Now that's what I call a passive-aggressive sacrifice. But even legends fall. After Aristomenes was finally captured, the Messenians were crushed. Sparta reasserted control, and so began the long, dark silence. 300 years. During this time, Messenians became helots once again. They worked the fields, raised the Spartan crops, raised Spartan children, even while their own dreams were burned to ash. Helots were forbidden to train in arms. They were beaten yearly just to remind them who was boss. Their children could be killed without consequence if they appeared too healthy or too proud. And yet, the flame never truly died. Messenians preserved their identity in secret, passed down songs, stories, and the memory of Aristomenes like an ember hidden under ashes. You know what the Spartans feared most? Rebellion. They trained their youth, the Cryptia, to hunt helots in the night. Not because of hatred, but because they knew, deep down, these people would never forget who they were. Fast forward to the 4th century BCE, when the tables finally turned. The Spartans, once the unstoppable juggernauts of Greece, found themselves outmaneuvered at Leuctra by the Thebans under Epaminondas, a general who wasn't just good, he rewrote warfare itself. After crushing Sparta's army, he did something unthinkable. He marched into Messenia and rebuilt it. He founded a new capital, Messene, in 369 BCE, a walled, fortified city with temples, public buildings, and dignity. The helots were freed. The exiles returned. The soil tasted like home again. It was more than political. It was spiritual. Imagine returning to a land your great-grandfather was forced to abandon in chains. Imagine seeing your flag rise again. One ancient writer said the walls of New Messene were among the strongest in all Greece. And you know what? They had to be, because freedom hard-won must be defended. Today, most people don't remember the Messenians. History favors the loud, the victors, the Spartans, those with plumes on their helmets and philosophers at their feet.